Man, it must be awful down there. Fucking hell. Either you have to like breathe through your mouth, or you have to bear through the stench, and that must be fucking awful. Anyhow, cautiously you lean down and put your head through the threshold. The smell almost makes you retch. After suppressing your gag reflex, you're able to listen. You hear the dripping of water, and off in the distance, thumps and clatter, perhaps from the street above. You stand up. I do not hear or see anything that says rat yet, you say. Let's get this over with. Now comes the moment you have been wondering about. Who do you suggest? Who do you suggest go first? I think I was about to say perhaps Gukog would be able to go first, but I think, yeah, it's very difficult. Who should be the vanguard? Vanguard is the guy in the back, right, guarding the behind. I think Gukog could do that, and I have a spear, so I'm gonna go with I will go first. Alas, you say, thrusting your chin in the air. I will go first. Bravely said, says Kriya with a smile. She hands you the lantern. I have a spear, so it should be fine. As you take the lantern, you see a woman walking hurriedly by holding a sack in one hand, holding her nose with the other. Oh gods, a terrible thought just occurred to me, you say. What if someone locks us inside, by accident or otherwise? I will leave a note, says Kriya as she unslings her knapsack. Who can read? Besides, someone will certainly steal your parchment. We will leave it unlocked, yet we will shut the door. No one suspects it is unlocked, says Kriya. Take a deep breath and hold it. You then take the first step down the stairs. You shine the lantern down the stairway. As expected, the stench becomes worsened as you descend. Gukog is behind you. Kriya is last. I think Gukog should be behind Kriya. It would be better if she stays in the middle and is protected. And Kriya's last. There's a horrible screech, and you suddenly slam your body up against the slimy, damp wall. It was only Kriya shutting the great door. Letting out your breath, you continue on. The last step disappears into water. You shine your lamp down the passage. There's nowhere dry to walk, you hiss. Consider yourself lucky, says Kriya in a whisper. In the wet season, we would be swimming already. Looking down into the water, it's unclear how deep it is. You hold your breath and step down. Your boot sinks halfway up to your calf. Stinks, says Gukog. A voice right behind you. What do you expect? You say, it's a sewer. Sewer? Says Gukog. Oh gods, whisper Kriya. You turn to Gukog and bring your lantern up to eye level. Do you know why we are down here? Kill rats, says Gukog. Right, you say, a measure of relief coming over you. Rats live in the sewers, so that is where we are. Sewer is where people's, when you go to the latrine, and never mind that, whispers Kriya, cutting you off. Gukog, just kill any rats that you see. And be careful not to cut my leg off, you whisper. You and Kriya spend a bit more time making double sure that Gukog understands his assignment. Then you turn your attention to the tunnel, take a few steps, sloshing through the water. You stop and listen, echoing drips. A thump, splashing. The shutters of the lamp are half shut, allowing about 10 meters of shadowy visibility. It would be nice to open the shutters completely to allow maximum visibility, but at the same time, you don't want to be a beacon down here. That depends. Like, the problem is, I don't know the combat capabilities of my people. I know Kriya is a mage, so she would have some combat capabilities. This guy have lived so far, so perhaps he has some decent combat capabilities. I don't know about me though. That's the issue. That's the one reason I leave the lantern as it is, because I was hoping to open it so that I could see all the way, so when they come I could easily kill them. But if they're attacking like hordes, it would be better if I could sneak up on them even a little bit. You leave the lantern the way it is and slowly slosh forward through the sewers. After a few meters you stop and listen. There's definitely something alive down here, scuttling, feet a splash. You continue on, straining to make out shapes in the shadows, imagining all manners of fiends. And there's a loud... Oh, my life decreased because I didn't open the lantern, but who knows what would have happened if I had opened the lantern. The loud squeak, then a giant rat with matted wet fur appears out of the shadowy pile of debris. You try to thrust your spear into it, but it moves fast and is surprisingly nimble. It evades your point, leaps up, and sinks its huge incisors teeth into your leg. Shot in pain and bring the butt of your spear down onto the little beast. It lets go and swiftly runs off squeaking. You completely open the shutters of the lamp. Okay, well, that's what we're supposed to do. Shadows of the tunnel are pushed back. You make out the long rat tail of the vermin that just bit you. I would probably be dead because that would be infection. I think I'm dead. This is way too infectious area, and I've gotten a bite. Yeah, I've got infection. I'm dead. Especially in these olden times, until I have some maggots or something that I can put on the flesh. You make out the long rat tail of the vermin that just bit you just before it fades into the shadow down the tunnel. Are you hurt? It's Kriya's voice. The cursed thing bit me, you say. You set your spear aside and press your hand over the bleeding wound. Kriya hurries forward and makes you pull your hand away from the wound. Nasty, but far from mortal, she says. Gods, I'm diseased. It takes time, often days, for disease to set in, she says. Good, then there is time. You say, let us go back to the surface and find a healer. And pay him with what? Says Kriya. As I said, we have time. We are down here, let us continue. Such words come easy for you. You say, you're not the one bitten by a filthy vermin. Kriya delves into a knapsack, pulls out a strip of clothing. It will bind it to stop you bleeding. To stop the bleeding. You nod. As Kriya listens, you listen and watch. Distant sound echoes, but there is no sign of rats. Finally patched up, you take a few steps. You limp at first, but grit your teeth and right your gait. That little devil was right under my nose, you say. I would have some light if I am to continue on. What of stealth and subtlety? Whispers Kriya. I cannot silently slosh through this water like a fool. You say, not bothering to whisper. We may as well see our enemies as well as they can see us. Kriya pulls out 2 torches from her backpacks. You light the torches using the lantern flame. Now with Kriya and Gukog with torches, you with a lantern, you have plenty of light to fight. Alright. You continue down the passage, moving at normal pace, only occasionally stopping to listen. At times you hear dripping, a distant splash, skittering, even a squeak or two. You spot many normal-sized rats, but none of them allow you to get close enough to strike. Some of them dive under the water, which makes the skin of your soaked feet crawl. You jab your spear into the water ahead as you go. Even every 100 meters or so, you come to a small grate. Okay, you come to a small grate or other hole to the outside world, which allows sunlight in. Thankfully, you reach an area of the sewer that has a raised platform along one side, enabling you to get out of the water, although you still need to watch your step because the stone is slippery. You don't have to go far on the platform before you hear a scratching sound ahead. You see 2 red eyes emerge from a side tunnel. A rat the size of a large cat strolls out. Seeing you, it gets on its hunches as though to get taller and intimidate you. 2 gold right there, whispers Kriya. At about 6 meters away, you would estimate it's about a 50-50 shot if you throw your spear. Another option would be to charge it and hope it doesn't run. Finally, you could try to get Gukog to go after it. I don't think I should put Gukog forward. I'm gonna boost my life a little bit. I have plenty of points to boost it anyway. So let's get... Wait, I can just spend so much life. You're out of spendable points. As 10 when you go back to the story. Example, start over, go back to a choice or load a checkpoint. Alright, let's save the changes. I'll take some life. Let's charge it. With the spear raised, you charge at the rat. Eventually, seeing that you have called its bluff, the rat gets back on all fours and disappears into the side tunnel. You run up to the opening of the side tunnel, shine your light in. Your spear is at the ready. All you see is the rat tails disappear as it disappears out of the range of your lantern. Fast little devils, you say as you turn to the others. Kriya frowns. Unfortunate, we do not have a crossbow. Suddenly, there's a cacophony of screeches. Yeah, they're probably called backup, but that's a good thing. We get more stuff. Screeches. You turn back to the narrow side corridor. Now there are many sets of red eyes ahead. The loud sound of skittering claws. One of the larger rats is charging forward. A few options flash into your mind. You could call for Gukog and fight here, retreat back to the others, or you could call Kriya to your side to use fire magic. Wait, to call her to my side, you mean forward? So let's assume the situation. There's a hole in front of me, or a side path where rats are coming from. I'm standing there in front of it, and they're about, let's say, 10 meters behind me, right? So if what I was hoping, if a call for magic option was they would, like, you know, Like she would prepare her magic and I would run back and dodge out of the way and they could hit the rats. But I don't want to call her forward too. Let's call for magic. Kriya, you shout, waving for her to join you. Fire now. Kriya and the first of the rats arrive at nearly the same time. You thrust your spear into the rat. The impaled rat shrieks as it shakes the shaft of your spear. As you anticipated, the other rats are now charging. Kriya drops the torch onto the stone, raises the fingertips of both hands as she chants in some strange language. You pull your spear back just as a great gout of flame fills the narrow tunnel. Over the roar of fire comes the screeching of many rats. Seconds later, the flames are gone. You rush forward into the smoke, the stench of scorched fur. It is easy to spot the rats now that most of them are burning. You stab with abandon, making sure every last one is dead. Wonderful, shouts Kriya. Kukok joins you, coughing from the smoke as he hacks at one of the writhing rats after another with his long sword. You see a pair of eyes from another rat ahead, a straggler who escaped the flames. You ready your spear, which scampers off. You were right to call for me, Rooster, says Kriya as you take a breather. Yeah. She raises her hand as though to slap your shoulder, but her hand freezes in midair as she inspects the state of your cloak. She drops her hand back to her side and smiles sheepishly. Thank the gods I did, you say, and poke her lightly on her shoulder with one finger. Wait, what? I don't get it. So she came up to me and was like, wonderful idea. You did great. And then she raises her hand to like slap my shoulder. Then her hand freezes in mid-air as she inspects the state of your cloak. So my clothes are torn. And she drops her hands back to her side and smiles sheepishly. Thank the gods I did. You say, yeah, that's to the calling for her. You say and poke her lightly on the shoulder with one finger. That's cute. Moving on. Kriya keeps watch with the lantern as you and Gukog get to work chopping rats' heads off. Say Kriya, do you know of a good shop where I could buy a dress? You say as you hack at the neck of a rat with your short sword. Well, the golden thread is in the middle ring has a good reputation, says Kriya uncertainly. A strange question in a sewer, perhaps the first time it has been uttered here. The golden thread, huh? That sounds like silk. Golden thread. You say, sounds expensive. You're holding a severed rat head. How big are these heads? They're like dog size, right? Or like, are they bigger? Holding it by its whiskers, you carry it to the burlap bag, blood dripping from it. You're going to take your time and let Gukok take care of the bulk of it. It is, says Kriya. But you ask for a good shop, not an affordable one. Her voice trails off. She clears her throat. Rooster, do you mind if I ask you why you want to know about such a thing? You have only been in Ring City for one night and you chuckle. It is for my sister, you lie. Right. Gods, I wonder if Kriya would help me guess the size of that vampire, you wonder. You pick up the next rat and begin hacking. Also, would you know when such shops typically close? I would like to get one today. Sundown, says Kriya. What difference does it make? Your sister is across the mountain, is she not? She's suspicious, you think. The stench down here is unnerving, my lies. Yes, well, I would like to have the dress tonight to remind me of her, you say. I know you did not ask for my advice, but I think your sister would be better served by you saving your coin for your next payment to House Vrudahir, says Kriya. Perhaps. You decide that you will not take this grisly work slow after all. You still need to collect more rats and get out of the sewer in time to make good on your deal with the vampire Erenova. I should have made another excuse like, there's I don't know, what excuse would you make? I met this lady and I just want to give her a gift. Is that a good excuse? I don't know. I mean, it's technically true, but it's a bit difficult. Elven heads, I thought, considering he's a thief, we would get an option to, not give the vampire a dress. But yeah, I'm amazed that he's, honoring his word, I guess. Elven heads in all. Oh, 11, sorry, not Elven. I was like, why are elves down here? 11 heads in all. You tie so 2 heads, 2 per head, right? So that's 22 gold, right? You tie the burlap sack of heads to Gukog's belt. You feel a pang of guilt for this. What? You tie the burlap sack with head to... Okay. Alright. You feel a pang of guilt for this. The man's limp seemed to make the bag swing further than it should, possibly contributing to the imbalance to his walk. Nevertheless, you're not willing to carry them yourself. The scout never carries the head, you say to Kriya when she brings up the idea. You continue along with you going first, Gukog close behind. You would walk abreast to him, except that the slimy walkway is too narrow. Holy shit, it's narrow. I was thinking of it as like a big sewer setting with like, you know how typically game sewers are, like the two side paths with like footing on them that you can walk on, and there's water in the middle. And they said that there's water everywhere, so I was just guessing that like a big area with water in it, with going from cross section, like every hallway I was expecting at least to be 5 meters wide, but apparently it's not. I'm guessing, like with the way he said it, like 2 meters at most. Fucking hell, that must be an awful place to be fighting in.